Well, the US equity markets have retreated from the record highs, and crude oil prices have gone below the $60 per barrel. In fact, in US, the US 10-year bond yield has hit 1.75%, which is the highest level since January 2020, and that has led to some amount of nervousness in the US equity markets. In fact, if you look at the Dow, it has retreated from the record highs. Nasdaq was down nearly around 3%, and also there were fresh worries in terms of the COVID pandemic in Europe, and all these events have led to some fresh concerns again in terms of the equities. Another jump in US Treasury yields reflected expectations for faster economic recovery and inflation, and that fueled rotation into sectors which are likely to benefit from reopening rather than technology stocks. In fact, the US 10-year yield did jump nearly around 11 bips to 1.75%. It hit the highest level since January 2020. The 30-year rate also has climbed close to around 6 basis points at one point, and breached the 2.1 level for the first time since August 2019. Dow Jones was down close to around 0.5%. Nasdaq was down nearly around 3% in trade, and S&P closed down by nearly around 1.5%. In Europe, the automakers lifted the German DAX share index to a record high on Thursday, while broader European stocks inched towards all-time highs after the US Federal Reserve, of course, has vowed to keep interest rates low, despite going ahead and forecasting higher economic growth as well as higher inflationary expectations. The pan-European stock 600 rose 0.4%, but eased from the early highs due to the losses coming in utilities, chemicals, as well as food and beverages stocks. CAC was up by close to around 0.13%, while DAX was up by nearly around 1.2% for the day. FTSE ended the day up by close to around 0.3%. In fact, if you look at the Asian stocks, well, the Asian stocks, of course, did take cues from the US indices, then the Asian stocks traded negative after the US markets did retreat from the record high. Oil has slumped, and Treasury yields, of course, has hit the record highs. Treasury yields rather have hit the highest since Jan 2020. Nikkei was down by nearly around 0.8%, while Topix was down close to around 0.5%. In Australia, the indices traded negative by close to around 0.6%. Crude prices added to Thursday's decline and fell by nearly around 7%. On the back of concerns that new virus-related curbs in US will sap demand, and the strengthening US dollar that hurts the value of oil. In fact, the WTI crude sank nearly around 8% to $59.4 a barrel, hitting the lowest in almost 4 weeks. This is probably the first time in quite a few weeks that we are seeing the crude going below $60 per barrel. WTI futures also were trading flat at $59.7 a barrel. Gold traded up by close to around 0.3% to close at $1733 an ounce, and futures were flat at $17.31 an ounce in early morning